Hey everybody, it's Tim Miller from the Bulwark here with my colleague Jonathan V. Last, author of the Triad newsletter, my co-host on The Next Level. We have lapsed Catholic and actual Catholic here to discuss the breaking news with the Pope. For those who haven't seen it yet, Cardinal Robert Prevost, Prevost, I got that right, of the United States, has been selected as the first American pontiff in history, USA.
An American Pope.
We have an American Pope, JVL. He will be
USA! U.S. I feel like Hacksaw Jim Duggan out here with my 2x4. Look at that. Lee Greenwood. Cue Lee Greenwood.
American Catholic moment. He'll be known as Pope Leo XIV. He is a 69-year-old nice from Chicago. His global experience. He served as a bishop in Peru. He's most recently leading the powerful Vatican office for bishop appointments. And the only other thing that I know about him is that he shit on JD Vance on Twitter a couple weeks ago. So that's honestly, he's from America and he hate tweeted JD Vance. That's enough for me. But Jonathan, you're a little bit deeper in this. So what's your assessment?
We got a resistance Pope. No, I'm kidding. That's a joke. We'll use that as a headline, but it's basically a joke. So this is shocking, I think, to everybody. Not totally shocking because his name had been in the conversation. My best sources on this are the people over at The Pillar. Go to thepillarcatholic.com and subscribe to them. And they did a profile on him like 3 days ago, which they would not have done if they didn't hear rumblings that there was some talk about
I've
him.
not read that profile. So was he ever a bishop in America? Was he ever a U.S.?
Yes, I believe he was in Chicago, for a little bit, but he did all of his ministry was done in South America, and then he's been over in Rome. He's reasonably young. He's 69. The last two popes,
I love that.
Well, the last two popes were 76 and 77 upon their elections. So 69 is he's just a kid.
Is he skinny? They say fat pope, skinny pope.
He is skinny. He's a skinny pope, looks a great deal like our good friend Eric Edelman from Shield of the Republic. And I don't believe anyone has ever seen the two of them in the same room together. He's a Villanova grad. Let me tell you.
I should have mentioned that. I did know that. My brother went to Villanova. Hell yeah.
Our friends at Villanova, a school that Flash is highly interested in, are going to have to rename every fucking building on that campus after him. And they are going to be the most... You think the Notre Dame Catholics are insufferable? Just wait. The Villanova Catholics who have their own pope. Wow. Wildcat Nation gonna run crazy.
He's an Augustinian? Tell us about that. What does that mean?
I know
about the Jesuits.
So I don't know all that much about the Augustinians, to be honest. And he is... I just want to say how utterly insane it is to have an American pope. Most of us in Catholic world thought that we would get an African pope and an Asian pope before you'd get an American pope. Like
Why?
that, because the Europeans control all of this stuff. Basically, most of the votes come from Europeans, heavily Italian in the College of Cardinals. And, like their views of the Americans are like, you guys have enough, right? They don't need to be lectured to by Americans. The idea that an American will be sitting on the throne of St. Peter is wild.
Since he was the guy that picked the bishops or was the point man for that, do we think, is this a Dick Cheney situation, do we think, where, a lot of the bishops, they were looking at some other candidates, they settled around the guy that all the bishops knew?
So this is a real thing that Francis really did reshape the College of Cardinals in very significant ways. This College of Cardinals is Francis's College of Cardinals. This is this is the electoral college he wanted. And one of the things he did that was interesting is that he kept them apart from each other. Normally the Cardinals are all very chummy and they, most of them know each other pretty well. This conclave, these guys are sitting down for the first time together in many cases. And that is interesting. Very, very short, only 4 ballots, which tells you that he was probably the front runner from the first ballot. Because you got to get to I forget the full number that you need, but it's a large supermajority of the ballots. And typically what happens is, they do an initial vote that's just taking everybody's temperature. And 1 or 2 clear front runners emerge. And then there's like a lot of kibitzing about, like, well, do we think we could go with this guy, or do we think we can go with that guy? And then as they do the next vote, and you then see basically whether these names have been vetted. A third vote to see, okay, is there real momentum? And then a fourth vote is like, okay, everybody's decided that this is it. The most interesting thing about this to me is that at his blessing that he gave from the balcony, he spoke in Italian, Latin, and Spanish.
Not English.
He did not speak in English.
Hmm.
And I find that fascinating and kind of heartening, actually.
Yeah.
This is a guy who is not gonna rub the rest of the world's nose in the fact that he's American, and is clearly, in the most basic way possible, just the tongue he uses to speak to them, is saying, I am the Pope for the whole world. And Timmy, I don't know if you're like me, but often in American politics, after a presidential election, there's this groundswell of, well, anything could happen, and I hope it all works out for him.
Yeah.
Really, I never feel that. I am almost, well, not never. I guess I've felt that once or twice, but most of the time, I'm just like, boy, this guy who just got elected is a piece of crap, and we're going to get what we deserve. I'm one of those naive suckers with popes. Whatever we know about them before, whatever there is beating around inside their hearts, new guy gets on the throne of St. Peter. I'm only going to get lifetime, maybe 6 popes. I mean,
Yeah.
this is a very, very rare season, and I am in full Pollyanna. Like, well, I don't know, maybe it'll all work out this time.
I love
Maybe
that.
he'll be a great pope.
I want to read his resistance tweets since that is people are here for that. But before we do that, I want to leave that for everybody for the dessert. Is there anything else from the profile that you read and the pillar, or from the speech that like jumped out to you?
Yeah, I mean, very, very non-ideological speech. So his papal blessing was a peace talk. He referenced Francis like 3 times, and he's really love me my Francis. He's Francis's boy.
Yeah.
In a similar way that Benedict XVI, Joseph Ratzinger, had really been John Paul's boy.
Yeah.
And so maybe a lot of people saw Benedict's pontificate as basically doing the closing out the books on JP2.
Yeah.
And the idea was he was going to be the reform of the reform. JP2 basically carried forth the Vatican II reforms through the church, in addition to all the other stuff he did. And Benedict was basically tidying up the books before they put that aside. And maybe that is what Leo XIV will be to Francis. Maybe he will be, I don't quite know Francis' pontificate. I have complicated feelings about it. It was kind of a mess in many ways. I'm not sure that there is like an ideological project that was happening that needs to be tidied up. And again, Leo's a pretty young guy. He's only 69. And so who knows? I mean, again, it is possible that he could be a significant pope. He's young.
Not going to be, though, I guess your point on what the cleaning up the books, he's not going to be like a reaction to Francis. That's like,
No.
we need to turn away from, even though maybe some of the actual policies of the church didn't change dramatically, but like the rhetoric of it, like we're not going to reject kind of the Francis's turn from a rhetorical standpoint.
Yeah, and part of the thing of Francis was he really, really leaned into embracing the global South, which is, a really big and important, significant part of the church, and not being ashamed of it, not viewing them as like, second-class Catholics. And Leo is certainly going to continue that. As you say, it's not a reaction,
right?
And that's good. I don't know. I'm just all like aglow, and I feel it's one of these things where if you're Catholic, you think about, did you ever do the Rome thing, Tim?
Oh yeah, of course. Yeah.
Yeah. So like the white smoke comes up, and what happens is people, if you haven't been to Rome, like it's tiny. It's tiny, tiny, tiny. And the white smoke goes up, and people just start running from all over town.
Yeah.
Like they literally run. They walk to get there, and the square just starts filling up, and nobody knows what's going on because this stuff is real. It is impossible to keep things secret in the modern world, but the Vatican actually does it. And they're just standing there waiting. And this guy comes out and speaks to you, and it's like the same. It's been like this for 1,000 years.
Yeah.
They've done it this way for 1,000 years. And, and maybe this
wild.
time it'll turn out great.
That was cute. The video, one thing they didn't do for 1,000 years because we didn't have modern video, but the video of the camera, like the close up where the chimney is, and the bird was there, and the bird kind of looks up, and then people start cheering, and then the bird's like, "What the fuck is happening around here?" And then the bird flies off. That was a really cool video. Okay, here's the good stuff for the non-Catholics who stuck around this far. Robert Prevost, a few tweets recently I think are worth noting. JD Vance is wrong, Jesus doesn't ask us to rank our love for others. This is with regards to JD doing the thing about Ordo Immortis and how you can be mean to immigrants because there's, he was kind of misinterpreting was it Aquinas or Augustine? Either, I think it was, I can't remember. It was either Aquinas or Augustine. He was misinterpreting their doctrine about how you love your family more than you love strangers. And then he did another one on it. Pope Francis' letter, J.D. Vance's Ordo Immortis, and what the gospel asks of all of us on immigration. And then I missed this one. This is his most recent tweet, the most recent tweet of the new American Pope.
The last tweet before he ascended to the throne of Peter.
You think you would have maybe had to clean up the tweets before you went in. You might have had somebody delete them. It's probably the first time that's been a problem, but or an opportunity, depending on it. This was just a retweet of somebody named Rocco Palmo. Good on you, Rocco. He writes at Delogia. Anyway, as Trump and Bukele use Oval to push the illicit deportation of a U.S. resident, once an undocumented El Salvadoran himself, now D.C. Auxiliary Avelio asks, "Do you not see the suffering? Is your conscience not disturbed? How can you stay quiet?" That is his final tweet. It's a retweet, but is your conscience not disturbed? How can you stay quiet?
He did retweet Chris Murphy. I gotta say, can we? I mean, again, we're gonna find out all sorts.
Previously,
of things.
He had retweeted Chris Murphy.
Previously, I do want to ask you very, very sincerely.
Yeah.
So by the time this is posted to YouTube, I assume Donald Trump will have tweeted about this. What do you think he's going to do? Because I could see Trump on the one hand wanting to warm up and make it like, oh yeah, this is an American Pope. We're going to give great deals. Maybe we'll get over there in the Vatican Palace, maybe get a casino. We could put it some beautiful, it's great real estate. On the other hand, I could see it as a persecution complex of, these very unfair popes being so mean to us, anti-American, these woke DEI popes.
I got the answer for you. It's already happened. Just happened. I'm actually not surprised with this. This is what I was going to go. The U.S. Pope, he does the U.S. thing. Congratulations to Cardinal Robert Francis Prevost. Such an honor to realize he's the first American Pope. What an excitement. What a great honor for our country. I look forward to meeting him. He's wanting to meet Donald, not JD, probably just for just better safe than sorry. That's not surprising. If you're Trump, you're first focused on how can I spin this about the golden age of America? It's the goal. If it's only because I've made this the golden age that the Cardinals would have chosen an American Pope.
How long is it before he takes credit for this and says that it's because the Cardinals, they respect America now. Because of my leadership, they respect America and realize that they had to make an American Pope.
T-minus 12 minutes, I think, until that happens. I think that is imminent. Don't ruin this for you, JVL. Don't ruin this for yourself. You're happy. You're giddy.
I am.
Do you have church? Are you going to go to church tonight? What do faithful Catholics do on the election of the Pope? It's been a while for me.
I mean, I don't know, like nothing special. I watched it with my wife and kids, and we were all super happy about it. We stayed for the blessing. We held up our little rosaries and got them blessed. And because it transfers when the first papal blessing. It's just awesome.
We've got our text chain. Our family text chain's blowing up. Very exciting. My brother went to Villanova. And Villanova alum Pope. So
I have to guess now, if you're a Villanova alum and you show up in Rome, your chances of getting a papal audience are now pretty good.
A lot of sweatshirts, a lot of Nova sweatshirts in Rome this fall, I think you'll be seeing. A lot of those little V hats. I definitely think you'll be seeing a lot of that. Okay. JVL, thank you. Congratulations. Congratulations to the Catholics. We did it. We got a resistance Pope. Everybody's happy. Everybody subscribe to the feed. We'll be seeing you soon. Peace.
Make Rome great again.